praise? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or were you just getting excited?
Me and Linton was in Belts sometime in the middle of this year. And I was sitting on the outside of there waiting for her to do her shop. And this preacher come up and sat down side of me. And we got talking, and he said, yeah, I'm a holiness preacher over there in Newport. He said, my wife just got out of the hospital, and she's in here getting some clothes. And by the time his wife showed up, her hair was white as snow in a ball, had a dress on that went all the way to the floor, long sleeves.
He was a preacher too, wasn't he?
Yeah, and that was his wife. And I was just wondering, did the holiness have a
Dress code.
dress code?
Yes. But it's slowly going away. It depends on what you're on. The older, like in the Church of God, back in the day, when somebody wanted to join the church, I'd have to go over all of our practical commitments. And it would take hours. And then finally they come along in the General Assembly and they said, look, we're getting carried away with this stuff. We're trying so hard not to get in the world that we've actually started legislating holiness. And so we got to stop legislating holiness. And so they just was having all these long list of rules and all this stuff, legislating holiness so we wouldn't get out there. Because when you do all this, it pushes you out there. They give just this little simple thing, and if you go through it in just a few minutes, it was awesome. And some of the older Church of God folks got so mad that the Church of God divided. And they got something called the Church of God. Then they had Church of God Tennessee.
Well, what's the difference between a regular holiness church and the primitive holiness church?
Well, again, here's three kinds of churches. Watch this now. There's, when you talk about that, there's holiness, there's Pentecostal, and there's Pentecostal holiness. Here's the difference. Holiness doesn't necessarily believe in the working of the gifts or speaking in tongues. So this is where people get kind of mixed up. Holiness just believes in a strong, holy lifestyle, like the Quakers. Okay? Then you've got Pentecostals, like the Assembly of God. They believe in the gifts of the Spirit, and they believe in the moving of the Spirit, speaking in tongues, but they don't really push hard the holiness. Okay? They say you work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, but we believe God can use you in that way. Then there's the Church of God used to be, although it wasn't called this, there is a denomination called Pentecostal holiness, and the Church of God was classified as Pentecostal holiness because they believed in the lifestyle of separation, but they believed in the workings of the gifts and speaking in tongues. Now, what has happened in the Church of God? Some Church of Gods are still there. Some Church of Gods are still Pentecostal holiness. There's Pentecostal holiness and still Pentecostal holiness, and they're heavy duty into what you wear and how you, especially some of the older folks. And I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm not going to bash anybody. If that's what you want, fine. But I don't see, and I don't see it. I just really don't see it. What I see is the only two things God said was dress modestly and moderately. That's it. Modestly and moderately. Nowhere in the Bible does it say women cannot wear Levi's or thou shalt miss the rapture. Okay? Nowhere. It's not there. Okay? And none of that, but, you know, my first wife was a school teacher, and she taught, well, she started out 6th grade, 5th and 6th grade, but she kept trying to work her way down, and before she died, she finally worked her way down to 1st grade. But she would get in the floor, and she would play with them, and she did something called turtle math, and she would get everybody under their desk, and they would do turtle math, and she'd be under her desk, or she would bring her keyboard, and she would teach them how to remember stuff by playing her keyboard and making up songs. And so I'd go in there sometimes, and she'd be all over the place, either be climbing up or in the floor. And I really appreciated her wearing pants. Okay, I really did. And there's a time and place. I mean, if wearing a dress climbing a ladder is not modest or moderate. Okay? And I've seen the time where I'm trying to hold the ladder for somebody, and I'm going, okay, if you fall, I'm not going to catch you because I don't know where you're at. You know, So again, God gives us common sense. It's just like that time Brother Hasty. I know I told you at this funeral too, Brother Hasty was saying, you got to learn how to follow the Spirit. Because I had 26 pages of notes. He said, God couldn't use you if he wanted to. You got to get away from all those 26 pages of notes. I said, okay. And so he started working me, and he worked me to death. He would call me up on the spur of the moment and do all kinds of things, preach sermons and figure out things and tell people stuff just like that. And so it did. But then one night he's up there, and I told some of y'all have already heard this, but he's up there. Brother Hasty weighed about 250. The lady weighed about 350. And she stands up, and she's standing like this, and I'm always supposed to stand behind whoever he's praying for to help catch him. And so I'm standing beside him when she goes, well, brother, I don't have the victory. And so he just grabbed, you know how Brother Hasty was. Brother Hasty puts his hand on her forehead and says, you got to claim it, sister. Just like that, when he did, she went, ah! And she grabbed him by his lapel. And she starts going back and she's pulling him. And I see it. There's 350 and 250 coming at me. And I only weighed about 200 at the time. And saw me. And so she fell out there on the platform in front of everybody. She falls on her back and he's doing like this. He's going, whoa, and he lands on top of her doing like this. And so everybody's watching her. She's just going, oh, oh. He's going, oh. He falls on top of her. And so I finally walk over and I help get him up off of her. And he always called me back after the service. He'd always call me back to ask me about things. He said, brother, why didn't you catch me? And I said, brother, ain't you been trying to teach me to listen to the Spirit? He said, yes, sir. I said, the Spirit said, move or you're going to get crushed. I told him at his funeral. Okay.